Hey guys, so we just got done pulling out the pistons. I didn't do much work, I just helped pull them out. That's where they were. And down there is where they are. So, on this segment, hopefully you'll be able to hear Shawn. But I'm going to ask him like a few questions. I told him he should do this on his channel, but I'm going to go ahead and do it on mine. I mean, he can redo it on his, that's fine.
Where'd that 3/4 go? I found it.
But I'm going to redo it, or I'm going to do it on mine anyway. So, as you all know, we are kind of like startup farmers. This isn't like hobby farming. If you could see my hands, they would be in quotations. But
Yeah, we're trying to be real farmers.
yes, like this isn't just a hobby. The only reason why we would ever actually consider it a hobby is just because Shawn does have a full-time job. Like he works, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, and some Saturdays. So, it's really cold out here. But we are, eventually going to buy a farm. But before we do, we really wanted to kind of get a heads up on equipment and pretty much just knowing what we are doing. Shawn, have you gotten a hold of local farmers to see if you could intern or anything like that?
I have, but to be honest, I just don't have time.
Yeah, so we do try to get in classes. Like if Ohio State is offering classes around the area, we actually try to get in those. There's a class that Ohio State is doing right now at our local library. It's once a month and it was 3 classes, but it talks about like starting your seeds. This past month, it was about, prepping your soil and like soil amendments and checking your soil, like your pH balances and stuff like that. And so those classes are free, but so I guess this is going to be more of like a questions and answer video. You guys are more than welcome to post any kind of questions that you guys want, because this video isn't just going to be for a startup farmer. This is for a startup business of any kind. Like it takes a lot of time.
And a lot of money.
A lot of money, yes. You got to be willing to get in the hole to work your way back out. So, my first question, well, I've already asked Shawn a question so far, but like my next question would be, why farming?
To me?
Yes.
Well, I was plowing a garden one day with a little tiny garden tractor that I pretty much put together from scratch. And it kind of hit me one day as to what God wanted me to do with my life. And I guess that's the simplest explanation for it. I always wanted to be a farmer when I was a kid, because that's what my grandpa did, till he got older and started renting out the land. Then the farm was promised to me, but I didn't get it because of family members. And, well, I guess now we're getting our own. It just kind of, it was just a calling. I just felt like this pull to the earth and to the dirt, like there was something I should be doing there that's better than what I'm doing. Don't get me wrong, I like working on cars. I mean, I like making people happy that I fix their cars. I like the fact that people can, get to their work and take their kids to school safely, and people don't get broke down. But I just don't feel like that's what I was put on this earth to do. So now I'm trying to do what I feel like I'm here for. If that makes sense, or that pretty much sums it up, I'd say.
I had always told Shawn, I'm just gonna record him while he's working. Right now he is pulling, what are they, wires? They're like old school lock washers, but they're not lock washers. They are like wires that went through the bolts. They actually looked really pretty. For how old the tractor is, they were really, really pretty and shiny. Well, right there's one. Oh, right there. But, they were really cool to look at, too. But, anyway, so, I told Shawn I wouldn't mind being a farmer, but I wasn't up, well, it's not that I wasn't up to it. It was more of the fact of, I didn't think it was going to be large scale. So I'm thinking, oh yeah, we can be a 5-acre farmer.
Yeah, I don't want to have a job.
Yeah.
I'm going to work for nobody but me and God. And I'm going to set things up for my kids, pretty much. To where hopefully by the time Patricia and I retire, my kids can hire help. And they don't have to do all this stuff. It's probably 10:30 at night. I've worked all day. It's cold out here, probably in the upper 20s. This is what we do to get what we have to do done. I don't want my kids to have to do that. At the same time, they do partake in what we do because I'm trying to teach them the value of work. But operating a business and running a business are two completely separate things. Sometimes the person running a business needs to pitch in and help operate a business. That's the goal I have for my children. They can work when they want to and not always have to, or need to. Like if somebody needs help, obviously help them. But yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, so, no, we're not like thinking thousands of acres, but a couple hundred, probably, which is large scale to us, because as of right now, we only own 5 acres, and we rent the rest, pretty much. We do have some really good neighbors. We are really blessed to have the neighbors that we do, because, like our neighbor next door, she is so sweet, and we are actually going to be planting corn behind her house this year.
Sweet corn.
Yeah, so, and like a couple of her children live on the same lane and stuff like that, and then we have a neighbor like off the lane that has let us do hay. We did our first set of beans this year.
Our first field corn is going to be in that field.
Yeah, so like we are extremely grateful and blessed to have the neighbors that we do. They are some amazing people. We've even had neighbors help us, log out our woods. We are just very blessed as people. So, but I guess, Shawn, nobody really knows this. Not a whole lot, just really close-knit people. Shawn will come home from work, and he is like automatically on Craigslist. Automatically on Tractor House, yeah, it's an auction site.
Auction Time's an auction site. Tractor House, just Tractor House. But it's basically the same website, just not all listings are auctions.
Okay, well, then that. Also, Facebook Marketplace. We look for ads on our local papers, like we get on the websites because we don't get the actual papers. Um, he is constantly looking. And if you guys watch my old video, that was from like a year ago, but I posted it anyway, of us going and getting
The grain drill.
Grain drill, yeah. Um, that was something that he had came home and was spending hours, like he spends hours on these sites.
Yeah, and that's the research, and that's the difference between running a business and operating one.
Yeah.
Right now, we're having to do both.
Yeah.
Patricia and
Trying
I
to
have
get
to
set
take
up.
care of all financial and the actual operation.
Yeah. So like, there's a lot that goes into it. So like, there are days where like I literally go to bed and I'm like, I know you've been here, but you're really not, you know? So it's been kind of straining on our relationship, and I'm understanding in the fact of I know what he's doing. I get it. You got to put in a lot of time. But then that deal for the grain drill was literally trading a lawnmower, a John Deere lawnmower, that I drove around the yard and was like, no, I don't like it. It had nothing to do with just being a John Deere. It's just I didn't like it. Like,
she didn't like the mower.
Yeah. So and I think at that time my mower had either the same deck width or whatever, but like
the way I got that mower.
Yeah, tell him that.
That little garden tractor I told you I plowed our garden for us 4 years ago. On Craigslist, I found a Simplicity one bottom plow someplace in Cincinnati, and I don't go to the city. But this guy had a Simplicity plow, which I do still have, for $40. And I thought he was selling it as like yard art, for somebody to put in the yard, which people do nowadays. I thought, well, heck, I could fashion a way to make that on the back of this Panzer and get a garden in, so we didn't have a rototiller. So I went and got that. Me and my son welded up the mounts to plow the garden and have a garden so we could eat from it, reap the reward, work in it as a family, pulling weeds and planting and what have you. But that tractor was a Panzer, a Copar Panzer 65, model 65. I'd always wanted one, and I bought one when I was like 19, maybe 18, and I planned to completely restore it. So I literally stripped it down to the bare frame. And when Patricia and I first got together and first bought this house,
it was in pieces.
I'm bringing boxes of stuff.
Yeah.
And like this big frame. It wasn't that big. It was a small garden tractor, a lawnmower. We'll say a lawnmower for people who don't understand the difference between garden tractor and lawnmower. It's a lawnmower. And and she's like, "What is all this junk?" And on the same porch we're standing on now, I put it back together every night after work because I knew we needed a garden.
Yeah. And every night I would come out and check out the progress because I'm literally looking at all this like little heap of metal and I'm like,
she didn't know what it was.
This
just boxes of parts.
Just junk.
But I'm the one who took it apart piece by piece. And a lot of pieces were sandblasted and primered. Nothing was ever, the grill was the only thing that was ever actually finished painted.
It was gorgeous though.
But
once we got it together.
That tractor had a lot of sentimental value to me.
Mm-hmm.
For nothing to do, partly to do with what's here, but I always wanted one growing up. And I finally got one. I was working at Firestone at the time, and I had a job and money, and I was able to go buy one for myself. As long before Patricia and I. So I bought this thing. It was kind of like my little dream project, whatever. I wanted to put a V8 in it, stupid teenage stuff. And it does have a lot of sentimental value for the fact of that is what the first time I turned the dirt with the machine, and planted my. I mean, I'd use rototillers, but I mean that's easy compared to what we'd have to do. Uh, I just felt this pull, a pull to the earth to farm, and so that's the sentimental value. But that tractor, I contemplated and contemplated and contemplated because we'd outgrown. We already had tractors, and I had my grandfather's. We still have my grandfather's rototiller, which is a really nice Troy built, 2 different speeds. You can turn the tines on and off. It's 8 horsepower, whatever. He paid a lot of money for it in the 80s, and it's been taken care of. So we don't need anything. Well, plus we have big tractors and stuff now. So I was contemplating getting rid of this thing, and Patricia didn't want me to because she saw me build it, saw that I built it, and I finally told her, I said, honey, we've kind of outgrown it. Like, you have to look at what we need for our future. And I traded that Panzer for that John Deere riding mower and $300. I only had $280 in the whole tractor. And I got to keep the engine that was off of it. We still have it. I paid, wow. I bought the engine for $280 and I bought the tractor for $150. But either way, I doubled my money off the actual tractor itself. And that's how we got the John Deere. Was I put the Panzer on Craigslist, traded it for the John Deere mower and some cash, and then traded that mower for a grain drill that planted our very first soybean crop.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of
the only piece of equipment that we own that did not directly come from Craigslist is what you're looking at and what I'm standing in front of. This tractor here is the only thing. That little old lady that Patricia was talking about, this is her eldest son's tractor. And I've tried to ask him what he wants for it. And it's conflicting because I was talking to one of her other sons, which is good friends with us. And I said, well, I don't want to, embark on this tractor if he's going to end up wanting an arm and a leg for it. But every time I talk to the guy about it, he's like, well, just use it as long as you need it. And if it turns out you don't like it, you just bring it back. Really great guy. And I imagine, we'll actually pay for this thing for a hum and a whistle. The fact that we have to put about $1,000 into it. But it's a 40-horse tractor. It's got good tires. And it beats a blank. A lot of things around here beat a blank. If you have something to work with, well, you can work with it. If you don't have something to work with, then work gets a little harder. But
so I'm not going to keep the question and answers videos very long. I'm going to try to keep them short. So I'll probably do multiple ones and kind of give you guys an idea, like maybe in the next few videos I'll actually show you, because we did our taxes this year. I'm not going to show you like our tax stuff, but
it's terrible.
I will show you. It's not even including the equipment, because Shawn is not very good at giving me receipts or letting me know numbers to write them down.
Get receipts for stuff off Craigslist.
It doesn't matter. It's still a number.
Yeah.
But like I still need, something to write down. So the total that I had came up with in just parts alone, rent and stuff like that, I will show you guys that. I broke it down really well, and come to find out, doing the taxes, I don't really have to do that. I can do it a different way or whatever. But I mean, this is all learning for both of us, and we're pretty much starting our own business. So we're not going to tell you guys how to start a business, but we are going to try to give you as much tips as we possibly can and how to become more successful. So this YouTube channel isn't just going to be for like a year. This is going to hopefully detail our lives. Like, you know, hopefully in a few years, Shawn and I will be able to look at you and be like, hey, you guys, we're here. We're at our farm, you know, stuff like that. So I'm going to sign off with that. Say bye, Shawn.
Bye now.
And I'll give you a last glimpse of the B275 here. And please comment, rate, and subscribe. Thanks.